Welcome to the Nameless. Their leader hasn't blinked in years, and the last member who fell asleep disappeared. I didn't believe that at first. It sounded like something you'd read in a comment thread at 2 a.m. and forget by morning. The kind of story people exaggerate for attention. A friend of a friend situation. No names, no dates, just fragments. But I couldn't sleep that night. That part matters. Because if I had slept, I probably never would have gone looking for them. I've had insomnia on and off for years. Nothing extreme, just long stretches where sleep feels optional or distant, like something happening in another room. Most nights I'd lie there, staring at the ceiling fan, counting rotations, listening to the hum, waiting for something to click. Sometimes it did. Most times, it didn't. So I filled the silence with podcasts, forums, random deep dives into obscure communities, people who lived differently, people who believed strange things. That's how I found them. Not through a website. Not directly. Through a thread. It was buried in a forum about productivity. That's what caught my attention first. The original post was simple. Has anyone here tried eliminating sleep entirely? No emojis, no punctuation flare, just that. Most replies were what you'd expect. People joking, dismissing it, linking studies about cognitive decline. But one reply stood out. It didn't argue, it didn't explain. It just said, sleep is a habit. Habits can be broken. And then a link. The link didn't look like anything. No branding, no images, just a blank page with a single line of text. Are you tired of being tired? Below it, a form. Name, email, time awake. That last field made me pause. Time awake. Not hours of sleep. Time awake. I hovered over it for a long time. Then I typed 19 hours and hit submit. Nothing happened at first. No confirmation, no thank you page, just the same blank screen. I closed it, figured that was it. Another dead end. The email came at 3:12 a.m.
Subject line, still awake. No sender name, just an address with no recognizable domain. I opened it. Inside, there was only one sentence. Come see how long you can really stay awake. And an address. It was local. That surprised me. I expected something abstract, online, anonymous. But this was a real place. An industrial area about 40 minutes from where I lived. I knew the general area. Old warehouses, some abandoned, some not. The kind of place where businesses come and go without anyone noticing. I checked the time, 3:14 a.m. I was already awake. I told myself I'd just drive by, just to see. That was it. The streets were empty. Not unusual for that hour, but it felt quieter than usual. Like even the distant background noise of the city had thinned out. I followed the GPS, turned off the main road, then another. The buildings got lower, older, fewer lights. Eventually, I reached the address. It didn't look like anything special, just a long rectangular building. No sign, no markings. The windows were dark, but there were cars, 5 of them, parked in a neat row, all facing the building. All clean, no dust, no signs of disuse. I sat in my car for a minute, engine idling, watching, waiting for something. Nothing happened. Then the door opened. It was subtle. No dramatic creak, no sudden movement, just open. Like it had been unlocked from the inside and was now inviting me to notice. I didn't see anyone. No silhouette, no figure in the doorway, just darkness inside, and the door open. I turned off my engine, sat there, hands still on the steering wheel. There was a moment, just a moment, where I almost left. I should have, but instead,
I got out. The air felt different. Not colder, not warmer, just still. Like the space around the building wasn't moving the way it should. No wind, no distant sounds, just quiet. I walked to the door. Each step felt louder than it should have, even though I was moving slowly, carefully, like I didn't want to disturb anything. Inside, the lighting was soft, not dim enough to be dark, not bright enough to be comfortable, just flat. There were people, 6 of them, standing in the middle of the room, not in a circle, not in any formation that made sense, just spaced out, facing different directions. None of them were speaking. None of them were moving. They were just there. I took another step inside. The door behind me didn't close, but I had the distinct feeling that it could at any moment. One of them turned their head, slowly, too slowly, like they weren't used to doing it. They looked at me and smiled, not warmly, not coldly, just acknowledged. "You are awake," they said. Their voice was flat, not tired, not energetic, just even. "Yeah," I said. It sounded louder than I expected, like my voice didn't belong in the room. They nodded. Good. No one else reacted. The others remained exactly as they were, staring into different parts of the room.
At nothing. Is this, I hesitated, the group? They tilted their heads slightly. We don't call it that. What do you call it? They thought for a moment, or at least it looked like thinking. Then they said, practice. I nodded, even though I didn't understand. How long have you been awake? They asked. I checked my phone. About 20 hours. They smiled again. That's the beginning. I glanced around the room. Do you stay here? Sometimes. Do you sleep here? They paused. Longer this time. Then, no. The way they said it, it wasn't defensive. It wasn't proud. It was factual. Like correcting a misunderstanding. I noticed something then. Something small, but it stuck. None of them were blinking. At first I thought I just hadn't noticed it, but the longer I stood there, the more obvious it became. Their eyes stayed open, uninterrupted. I looked back at the person in front of me. Their gaze was steady, unbroken. How long have you been awake? I asked. They didn't answer immediately. Instead, they looked past me, at the door, still open. Then they said, long enough. That didn't help. I stayed for maybe 20 minutes, maybe longer. Time felt off in there, like it wasn't passing the way it should. No one moved much. Occasionally, someone would shift their weight or adjust their posture, but it was slow, measured, like movement required effort. There was no clock, no windows, no indication of time at all. At some point, I realized something else. There were no chairs, nowhere to sit, nowhere to rest, just open space and people standing. I felt tired then, not physically, but mentally, like my thoughts were starting to drag. I should go, I said. The person in front of me nodded. Of course. Can I come back? They smiled again. If you're still awake. I left. The door stayed open behind me. Outside, the air moved again. A faint breeze, distant sounds, normal things. I got in my car, checked the time. 4:02 a.m. That didn't make sense. I'd been inside longer than that. At least it felt like it. I drove home. Didn't turn on the radio. Didn't check my phone. Just drove. When I got back, I tried to sleep. I couldn't. Not because of insomnia, not the usual kind. Because every time I closed my eyes, I pictured them, standing there,
eyes open, unblinking. And I had this strange thought. What if they were still standing like that, right now? I didn't go back the next night, or the night after, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I looked into the address. Nothing came up. No business listing, no property records, no history. It was like the building didn't exist. I checked maps, satellite view, street view. On satellite, the building was there, clear as day. On street view, there was an empty lot. Same location, no building, just dirt. I refreshed it, zoomed in, out, same result. I went back during the day, drove to the exact spot. The building was gone, not closed.
Not abandoned, gone. In its place, an empty lot. No debris, no foundation, just flat, undisturbed ground, like nothing had ever been built there. I got out of my car, walked the perimeter. There were no tire tracks, no signs of recent activity, but I knew what I had seen. I checked my phone. The email was still there. I opened it. The address had changed. Not completely, just slightly. One number was different. I didn't remember it being that way before. I checked my navigation history. The address I had driven to wasn't there. Just a blank entry. No destination. No route. I started to feel something then. Not fear, not exactly. Doubt. I went through my call logs, messages, photos. Nothing. No evidence I had gone anywhere. Except my sleep tracker. I use an app. Nothing fancy. Just logs when I sleep. That night, it showed something strange. It said, awake, 36 hours. That wasn't possible. I had slept the day before. I knew I had.
But the app was certain. And then I noticed something else. It hadn't recorded any sleep since, not even short periods, just awake. I tried to remember the last time I had actually slept, really slept. I couldn't. That was a few days ago. Since then, I've been fine. No extreme fatigue, no hallucinations, no breakdown, just awake, constantly. Sometimes I think about going back, trying to find the building again, but I'm not sure where I would go. The address doesn't exist anymore. And even if it did, I'm not sure I would find the same place, or if it would find me. Every now and then, I catch myself staring at nothing for longer than I realize. My eyes don't feel dry, they don't feel tired, they just stay open. I tested something yesterday. I stood in front of a mirror and waited. For a full minute, I didn't blink, not once. I'm not sure when that became easy, or if it always was. And lately, I've started to wonder something. Not about them, about me. Because I keep thinking back to that night, to the moment I walked in, to the way they looked at me. Not surprised, not curious, just expectant, like they already knew. And now, when I try to remember leaving, I can't picture it clearly. I remember the door, I remember the air outside, I remember driving home, but it all feels distant, like something I was told, not something I experienced. And sometimes, late at night, or early morning, it's hard to tell the difference. I find myself standing still, in the dark, not moving, not blinking, just practicing. And the strangest part is, I can't remember if I ever actually left that building.